Paul sent this back with North Tech Stone and Ceramic, and today we're going to talk about a subject that a lot of people are interested in, which is in-floor heating for your tile. You can have in-floor heating for your tile or for vinyl, for example. There are different ways to have in-floor heating out there. Today we're going to show you what we prefer to use. So when someone comes into our store and is interested in, let's say, tile to put in a bathroom or kitchen or entrance, whatever, and maybe they're interested in heating it so it's not cold on their feet, we have a specific in-floor heating system that we've had great success with, and that is the Ditra Heat system. It's made by Schluter, and it's simplified the in-floor heating installation. In the past, there are different systems. There's cable systems and mat systems that are available. And the one issue we ran into in the past is when people wanted to, let's say you're doing a main floor in a home, you're doing the entrance, kitchen, hallway, whatever, and maybe a bathroom on the main floor too. What would happen is you would only want the in-floor heating in certain areas. And so let's say you just wanted a little piece heated in the entrance or section in the kitchen, for example. What would happen in those cases is you would put, let's say, a mat system down or a cable system down that would have to be covered with mortar and whatnot, or self-leveled. And what would end up happening is you would have sections of different areas higher than others, which would mean you'd have to build up the other areas also. And it was it was more difficult. Now, as far as installation and more expensive, what the Ditra Heat system has done and why we like it is it's simplified that. So, for example, normally when you're doing tile, we use the Schluter Ditra mat everywhere, which is the regular mat which you see over here that we've used as a demo. And we would install that all over the area in order to provide crack suppression and anti-fracture properties so that your tile doesn't crack, okay? Now, with the Ditra Heat system, what's nice with this is that you can buy this mat, which is a little bit different than that one, and you can see it right over here. It's built a little bit differently for the cable to snap in, which I'll show you shortly. But what's nice about this is you would buy this instead of the regular Ditra mat, which is the squares. This has like a octagon or hexagon shape to it. And what you would do is install this on the entire area that you want to tile. Okay? So then what happens is, at that point, you can install heating just where you want it. And then the floor can be tiled without having to raise everywhere else. And I will show you that shortly. Now I'm going to show you the components of the heating system that we use, our in-floor heating system, the Ditra Heat, and how each of them work and how to put them in. So the Ditra Heat system comes with the mat, which you see here, okay? Obviously the Ditra Heat itself, which is the mat, the cable, which is hooked into the Ditra Heat, and finally the thermostat. There's also some other pieces that I'm going to talk to you about as far as the installation goes. Okay, now I'm going to go over the two types of Ditra Heat that are available for you to use. What you have here is the option that we use 9 times out of 10, which is the normal Ditra Heat. It's very similar to the Ditra mat in that it has the pad on the back And the difference is it has the octagon shaped inserts where the cable snaps into. So there's that. And then there's one that is specifically designed, it's called Ditra Heat Duo. It's designed for, as a thermal barrier. It's used, it has a pad on it that you can see here, a gray pad. It's installed the same way with the thin set mortar onto polymer modified thin set, and it's specifically designed for use on concrete. So a lot of times when you're installing tile on concrete, a lot of the heat will disappear into the, it's colder into the concrete floor. This prevents that from happening. So you have those two options. And one more thing, another thing to mention for the do-it-yourselfers is if you're not comfortable, let's say, we use a thin set mortar all the time to install this stuff, as we've shown in previous videos. But if you're not comfortable with that, they also have come up with a peel and stick version of both Ditra Mat and Ditra Heat. So you can peel it and place it down on a clean surface. So those are your two options for your Ditra Heat. Now what you have also is obviously the cable, and you have the thermostat. I'll go over the thermostat first. The cable I'll show you as a little bit of a demo. But the thermostat itself, you have, 3 or 4 options. I'm not going to go through them all. You can basically see them online, and you can choose the one that's most appropriate for your application, and depending on what you want and how much you want to spend. The thermostats range from, let's say, a basic on-off type thermostat that you would program manually yourself, so you would go up to it and turn it on off, set the temperature you want, and so forth, to all the way up to, let's say, a thermostat that you can activate if you're on a trip. You can use your phone, adjust the temperature at home, that sort of thing. So you can go from very basic to the Cadillac version. Now, the other part of the system is the cable. And the cable itself, the way to calculate the cable. So let's say you have a bathroom, for example. An easy way to do this is you would go onto the Schluter website, and they will have a room calculator for your to help you calculate the amount of cable you need. You have to order the proper cable for the area that you are doing, okay, to cover the area that you want to heat. So my advice is to go to that site, and what'll happen is you'll enter the dimensions of the room that you want to heat, and it will automatically select the cable that you need to order or purchase, okay? And the cable itself is really simple. When it goes in, if you come over here, I'll show you. The cable, I'll give you a little demo here, but if you notice there's ridges in the Ditra Heat, and all that happens is the cable will snap in. I mean, a lot of people will use like a float and run it over to make sure that there's nothing, everything is nice and even. And the way this is put in is generally you will follow the Schluter instructions for Ditra Heat, and we normally go 3 bands wide like this, and then you'll leave a couple of rows and do another 3 bands, and so on throughout the room. Generally you will leave, I believe is it 4 inches from the walls? So you stay away 4 inches from the walls, and 6 inches from drains. And because you're not necessarily stepping right against the wall anyway. So you want to heat the area that you're going to be walking on. So this clicks in very, very easy. If you notice over here on the cable, there's this rectangular piece right here. And what'll happen with that, this will go into the Ditra Heat. And what'll happen is you'll have to just cut out a section to fit that in, okay? So that would be installed inside, and then this here goes up to your thermostat, and we suggest bringing in a licensed electrician to wire the thermostat up, okay? There's one other piece to the system, which are it's a sensor. It will come with two sensors. One, what'll happen is in between your cable, you will lay a sensor down, and you need it like a couple of feet long, let's say. And what'll happen is this here, the end of this wire will actually go up into the wall, wire up to the thermostat. Now, Schluter recommends you use two sensors. You would wire one up to the thermostat and have another one placed in the mat also. Bring it up to the thermostat. It's more of a redundancy feature so that if one sensor fails, you can unhook it and plug the other one in. So that is basically it for the different parts of this system. We are going to show you a small video of our installers actually putting this in on a job, and that'll be following what I've just talked about.